Welcome to Square Circle Boxing's first ever monthly roundup. I'm Nathan Kirk, this is Colin Herbert, and we're joined today by special guest Marcellus Baz. We're going to be talking about the biggest fights for 2019, our predictions, putting our necks on the line for the Fury Wilder Fight 2, and we're also going to be talking to lots of local professional boxers, as well as the initiative here at Nottingham School of Boxing. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. And we're also going to be talking to lots of local professional boxers, as well as the initiative here at Nottingham School of Boxing. So without further ado, let's get this show on the road. And we're going to start the show talking about some of the biggest fights of 2019. So I think we've got to start with AJ Ruiz, surely number 1 and 2. Biggest controversy of 2019, you know, AJ dethroned as the world champion and gaining it back. What did you make of the first and second fight? Number 1 and 2.
That was just
biggest controversy.
Crazy. There was a massive contrast between both of them, weren't there? Because like you would have thought that in the first fight AJ would have just walked straight over him, and then there's that perception of did AJ kind of overlook him and think of Wilder and Fury. And then there's Ruiz, who was hungry, who could bang, who had quick hands, and really took advantage of that, and obviously knocked him out. And then the contrast, the second fight, AJ was focused, he knew he had to stay long, he knew he had to box, keep it long, and the discipline that he showed was really exceptional, because there was times where he did feel like going in there and having a war, and he kind of held it back, which was impressive. And
well, that's what lost him for it the first time, wasn't it? You know, like he did overlook Ruiz. I think it was sort of bodybuilder versus someone who's not so in shape, and he was a last-minute call, wasn't he? I mean, I'd have seen that as a really good chance to make a name for myself, and that's what he did, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he'd had like 3-4 weeks notice, but little did we know he had 110 fights as an amateur and only lost 5, so it speaks for itself.
I think the world just saw his physique and thought there's no way he's going to touch AJ. AJ, you know, he's a good role model for sport. He looks the part and everything. He's a really bit, but I said from the off, he's very robotic. He sort of throws single shots or 1-2s, and I think it was highlighted against Klitschko and it was highlighted against Dillian White. But you know, he is a strong guy, and when he lands, he really does land. He just got caught with that big shot.
It was a couple of big shots, really, weren't it? And it was about his recovery as well. But I think the way Ruiz fought that first fight, it was everything AJ didn't want to do. You know, he was up against somebody who could slip, he could come in. He was very quick with his hands, and he could bang.
The Mexican style, though, isn't it? You know, but I was convinced the second time round. I even bet my own money on it that you know, AJ would just get the same treatment. I thought even if he comes out a better fighter, I think Ruiz will just put those shots together.
A lot of people did think that. A lot of people.
And then AJ pulls out the stunning performance.
You can't forget how much pressure AJ was under for that second fight, because if he lost, the empire's done.
And then AJ pulls out the
sponsorship's gone, all the money, the big fights are gone. There's so much pressure.
Ruiz's camp was saying that he got all this money from
partying
the first fight,
and everything,
and he'd put more weight on, you know. And then there's questions there, you know, what if he did train hard? What if he did? What if he was disciplined? But you know, obviously he wasn't, and the other side of it is the credit to AJ. He was disciplined. He did train hard. I mean, his physique was completely different to
he lost lots of weight, didn't he?
And he was boxing. He was on the back foot, and it was an exceptional, disciplined performance. Don't you reckon?
Well, talking about the heavyweights, you know, we also had a big upset in. We know Fury got the win, but you know, the fight with Otto Wallin. Wow, nobody expected that. That cut was massive. Like, that would have been any other time surely stopped.
Did you see the worry in Fury's eyes?
I was worried for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's such a good boxer for me, Fury. He's frustrating, he's tall and he's greasy, and he's such a clever boxer. And then I think, again, he's took Otto a bit too light and ended up with that massive gash. And, you know, honestly, my heart was in my throat.
Otto's looked at it just like Ruiz did. Opportunity of a lifetime, make a name for yourself, and that's exactly what he did. He gave Fury his toughest rounds for years.
And this is why you can never underestimate anybody, because it's a puncher's chance in there, and the way Fury it came back, and it was credit to him that he won that, but I think the cut was a massive part of that. At one point in that fight, right, I thought that Fury was done, mate.
I thought it might get stopped, and fortunately for him, and I think for a lot of his fans, that didn't come to fruition. But there's so many fights we could talk about. We've got Canelo and Kovalev. Canelo moving up a weight, and it was a great fight. It was a different style of fight for Canelo. I don't think he boxed the same. I don't think he was quite as quick in things, but that's the first fight at that weight.
I think credit to Kovalev with regards to the way he boxed, the way he was pumping out the jab, not letting Canelo get in, trying disrupting him and stuff. And it's about keeping your focus for 12 rounds. And unfortunately, he couldn't do that for 12 rounds, and he got caught with a cracking shot.
Yeah,
I think the family felt it.
Yeah, exactly. Very clever fighter, Canelo. He even if he's losing rounds, he'll continue to stick to the game plan, and it'll pay dividends later on. Like when we saw it with Khan years ago, he was willing to drop those rounds, knowing what would come later.
But people were saying,
and it came.
And it came.
The people were saying that Canelo was fighting a washed-up fighter. He's finished. His best days were over. But to be honest with you, he put up a real good performance against Canelo, and a lot of them rounds he was nicking him.
I think it was a good fight, and I think at some point we did think, will there be an upset for Canelo here? It's not as straightforward as maybe it was for Ward when he moved up. I think it was quite it was a bit of an easier ride for him, I think.
Prior to Ward, Kovalev was one of the most feared guy in any weight.
Nobody wanted to fight him.
No.
He was banging everybody out.
Let's stop talking about the big guys. What about Pac-Man and Thurman? Whoa, what a fight! Because Thurman, I think he was convinced there's no chance that this old timer's going to come on to me, like I'm the man, and then bam, Pac-Man
rolling
takes
back
the
years.
world title.
What a fight, what a performance, rolling back the years. Credit to Pac-Man for being disciplined, for training hard, and you could tell that he lives a clean life, because as you get older, if you don't live a clean life, you don't be disciplined, you're not eating properly, you're not living properly, it's going to catch up to you. And what Pac-Man did there was roll back the years and kind of bring that freshness back, and he completely this performance overwhelmed Thurman. Thurman couldn't deal with it.
So going into the fight though, who did you think was going to win?
I genuinely thought Thurman. I thought Pac-Man's got too much going off outside boxing. I thought he can't be
politically, age. He's had a lot. I've had a few fights, but he's had a lot of fights at world level. He's had more world title fights than I've had fights.
And he started his career at bantamweight?
Exactly. Different weight classes.
Yeah. His body must be in pieces. Can you imagine the training camp?
How many 12-rounders, ruling 12-rounders is for, he's been knocked out a fair few times as well.
Yeah.
And there was a real bad knockout that he had. Marquez, So you look at age, you look at wear and tear, you look at, is his body going to be able to get through these rounds? And Thurman being young, hungry, he could have been putting the pressure on, intensity on. For him to get through to that, absolute credit to Pac-Man. And he's a role model for the elder generation.
And he's a player again.
Yeah, well that's it. He's in major contention, big fights. A lot of his money he spends on his community. He's built houses and things, and when you've earned that much money, having to get up early in the morning and get punched in the face and train and diet, if you're a millionaire, what's the point? But he loves it. It's his life, isn't it?
Ruby's got the millions, and he was partying, he was eating all kinds of things. It's really hard work. I can remember Johnny Nelson told me a story once, and he says that Mike Tyson says to him that when he was 17, he didn't have a bank account, right? He didn't have a bank account. At 20,
that's the criminal side,
at 19, he had like a £26 million in his bank. And
bad.
he actually thought he was God. He could do anything. He could treat anybody however he wanted to treat him, live however. So that amount of money can actually make a massive difference to people. So to keep your discipline when you've got that kind of money, that shows the character of the man Pat Man is.
I think, you know, he's got to be in the Hall of Fame, hasn't he, for sure.
Absolutely.
Taylor, Progress, I mean, another big fight. Taylor, for me, is one of the hottest talents out there. He's just, I think the first time that I noticed him stand out was against Dave Rocky Ryan. I think he won was it the European or the Commonwealth title? He won. I think it might have been the European. I can't remember now. But he I think he'd just beaten. He lost, to Wayne Hibbert. He had a back injury, didn't he, Dave Ryan?
Yeah, I remember.
And he was out for a year, and then when he came back, he fought this sort of like Olympian guy. I thought Dave Ryan is a tough guy, and this kid is young in his career, and I think it's too much too soon. And then he didn't even let Dave Ryan get in the fight. And I thought, wow, this guy's going somewhere now. He's got the Ali Trophy, and he's like,
showing a lot of maturity.
Yeah,
he's ferocious, isn't he? He's just he seems to be one of those fighters who finds a way to win when one tactic isn't working, he switches it up to something else. But he's just recently left.
He's got both sides. He's young, he's hungry, he's determined, but then he's got that kind of maturity as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's slick, but he's strong. Yeah. You know, he's for me, he's one to watch.
I think he's just recently separated from the McGuigans as well, hasn't he?
Yes, I think he's just come away from the training side. I'm not sure who he's going to be managed by. Maybe he's had a big offer.
Will that take an impact on him, do you reckon?
I don't know. I think it'll just help him. I think for him, it's just going to raise his platform now. You know, whoever he goes with now, it means major fights, and that'll be the reason, won't it?
But it can disrupt a fighter as well, though, can't it? If you're going from one.
Well, it'll make you or break you, won't it? At the end of the day. And then finally, I think Lomachenko. I mean, the Matrix. You know, he's an absolute magician, and he fought Campbell. You know, England's.
But
I think he was ranked
made
number 2.
him look human.
Yeah.
You know, like Lomachenko, people see him and they think absolutely amazing, this, that. Campbell made him look human. Campbell was catching him with a lot of shots.
Well, Campbell was twice the size of him, wasn't he?
Yeah, Campbell's a big lad.
He was, and that's what, you know, if Lomachenko does move up against, you know, better opposition in that way, how is he going to kind of find that?
But Luke's like big, like, you know, he's got the Great Britain Team GB logo to his name. He's got the medal. He's had some massive fights. He's done well, and you know, Loma moved up a weight, and he's not a big guy anyway, is he? And
no, he could probably make featherweight, couldn't he, easily?
But I wouldn't take nothing away from Campbell. I thought Campbell came in there. He came with a game plan. Nobody gave him a chance in hell to beat Lomachenko. It doesn't matter if Lomachenko came up a weight or not. Nobody gave him a chance in hell. And I thought Luke was credit to the country, credit to you know, everybody, all his supporters, all his family. He came in focused. He believed in himself, and he was very close. I thought very
absolutely.
close.
I think I looked at the bookies the day before, and the odds in favour of Lomachenko were bonkers. They didn't think that Campbell would get past the 6 rounds. So to go with the distance and come out with respect.
Well, let's move on from 2019. It's 2020 now. We've got some big fights coming up in the years ahead. But firstly, Marcellus, Carwin came down to see you guys at the Nottingham School of Boxing, where we are today. He came down to interview a few people. But let's come to you about your initiatives.
Nottingham School of Boxing and Switch Up, they're, you know, 2 organisations that work hand in hand. The initiatives that Switch Up offer, the provisions that Switch Up offer now, we're looking at helping other young people that might be in dark places, that might be groomed into criminality, or to take, you know, or county lines, etc. People that might be even the other side of the spectrum, people that might be suffering from mental health issues or anxiety and just confidence, you know. So what we have now is Nottingham School of Boxing, the power of sport, is a way of giving young people a safe, inclusive environment, or all people, helping them to channel their anger and aggression in a positive way that are natural emotions that we all have, but also provide them with positive role models that can help them, guide them and support them. And then, you know, we've got an elite side that we get kids into, you know, elite competitions. We've got 5 national champions that the club's produced.
Wow.
And then we've got plenty of champions, you know, that the club has through volunteers, people going out, changing their life, and we get them jobs. And through Switch Up, we provide counselling, mentoring, employability skills, education, and through the links of local businesses like Linley's, like John Pye's, you know, Air IT, CPW, they give these kids jobs and opportunities to become tax-paying citizens. But the nucleus is the boxing. The boxing is the hook. It brings them in. You could get, you know, elite athletes from there. You know, some of the guys that have gone on now. You know, about producing champions in and out the ring here.
Well, I think Carwyn, you were down here, so we're going to cut now to the interview that you did with Mudva first, and we're going to see what you've been producing, Baz.
Awesome.
Okay, just introduce yourself to the people at home.
I'm 15 years old and I'm a boxer at Nottingham School of Boxing.
Okay, brilliant. And how long have you been coming to Nottingham School of Boxing?
About just over 3 years.
Yeah, and who trains you?
I've got a range of coaches, Baz,
Yeah.
Dec and Aidan and Barry, different coaches, and Hamad.
And how do you find it down here? What do you get out of it?
I get a lot out of it. I'm fitness and everything, and boxing wise, like getting best of myself at.
Yeah, and 3 years is a quite long time to stick at one thing. What keeps you coming back day after day?
The love of everything, the love of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone, like the respect everyone's got.
And it's a bit of a family community down here.
Yeah, massively.
And do you want to say thank you to anyone?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Baz and Amar for being there for me these past few years. You guys have really changed my life. So thank you.
Some really lovely words there from Mudva. Just watching that, Baz, how did it make you feel?
Emotional. You know, when you're working with these kids and you're seeing them grow and you're seeing them develop and you're seeing them, you know, walking different and confident and making the right choices and going into, you know, positive avenues and doing better at school and better at home and it's just an amazing feeling, mate, you know.
Yeah, I guess sometimes you don't quite get the words out of them. You see it, you get the reward, and sometimes it's just nice to see someone say it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really nice to hear that from her. I mean, she's, you know, she's grown so much, she's developed so much, and she's, you know, been with us for quite a few years now. And there's so many other kids like her that have come through. They might not have had the best start in life. They might have had some difficult, you know, challenges going off. But now, you know, coming here, being in a positive environment, channeling the energies in boxing, and then the personal development, what we do around them, we help them to make, you know, the right choices and to be better at home, to be better at school, and to keep them out of trouble and, you know, champions in and out the ring.
Well, I mean, 15 years old. I mean, my experience of 15-year-olds is like completely different. They're very hard to handle, sort of thing. But it's a very mature thing to not only say you've changed my life. It's a massive statement, changed my life. But to recognise that somebody's done that for you at 15, I think that's got a lot. You know, that for me says a lot about her and her like respect of what you've done and her recognition of that, but it also says a lot about you. To change someone's life, not everyone can say that someone has been a positive impact and changed their life, so that's massive, it's unbelievable. So what's going on here is more than it's more than boxing, it's more than, you know, setting them up for the real world, it's changing their lives.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And, you know, I have to agree with you on that, is, you know, this is a magic environment. You know, we use boxing, which is a phenomenal sport, a sport that is transformed many lives in history. You know, you could pick loads of fighters that have made it and loads of fighters that haven't made it, and people that participated in the sport. It's transformed hundreds and thousands of people's lives, and we use that same methodology with the personal development around it. And you know, she's one of the many that have transformed their lives, and it's credit to them, because you know, you can take a horse to water but you can't make it drink. You know, they've got to do the work, and they do. And it's just an amazing feeling. And you know, the other thing is, boxing's always been renowned as a masculine, male-dominated sport. You know, and she's a great role model, and for young females to be coming through her and many others. And then, you know, so we've got Emma Linley, who was basically the business that was supporting us. She just came down to have a look and see what we was doing. She started to box here, and then as soon as she started to box, she was part of the family. She's ran marathons for us. She's now she's running, you know, to help raise money. Now she's set up a couple of more female-only boxing classes. I know Carwin came to one of them. What did you reckon to that, Carwin?
She had really good numbers, and the confidence she had in running the class. For someone who has quite a little experience in boxing, because she hasn't had a great deal of fights, because she was saying there's not a great deal of people out there for her. It was as if she's been doing it years.
Yeah, and it's fantastic to see so many women taking up the sport now, and using it as a way of building confidence, you know, making friends, losing weight. And like Emma, you know, she was competing. She's doing really well. And I know there isn't many people in her weight, but I know England are quite keen to have her down to have a look at her as well. So you never know what can happen. But female boxing is on the rise.
Well, I think female sport in general. We've got the women's England football team. I think that as a whole, as the UK, we're very much embracing females in sport now. We've got Terry Harper fighting, she's a world champion. You know, we've got Katie Taylor. But yeah, coming back to Emma Linley, you interviewed her.
Yeah.
So let's see that interview on the screen.
So as if we planned it.
Okay. Hi Emma.
Hi, you alright?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good. So we're just here today to discuss how you got into boxing. So can you just tell us a little about how you started in the sport?
Yeah, so my dad's company, Linley's Auto Centre, started raising money for Switch Up and Nottingham School of Boxing.
Yeah.
Always been into sport, used to row for Great Britain when I was younger. Come out of sport a little bit, and I was looking at something new, heard about the gym and thought I'd come down, and I've never looked back really. So yeah, here all the time.
So how long have you been at it with Nottingham School of Boxing now?
18 months, so not long since I've never boxed before at all, so yeah, about 18 months now.
Yeah, and am I right in thinking that you've competed a little bit?
Yeah, so I had my first bout last year, went really, really well, so just looking for another fight really, but it's finding the right person. There isn't that many women out there.
No. It's not. Well, it's getting more and more. So who's your inspirations in boxing?
To be honest, I'm not like massive into the boxing world. Obviously, Anthony Joshua, everyone loves him. But women-wise, Nicola Adams, that's about it really.
Okay, and what do you hope to achieve in the sport going forward?
Like I said, I've got into the coaching side of things a lot more in the past year, so I got qualified at the back end of last year, so I'm really passionate about that, getting a lot more women into it. I'd love to have more fights. It's hard to know how good you are as such when you're not competing all the time, so I'd like to have a couple more fights this year and just see what happens.
Yeah, and just what times are your classes so that we can try and get people down?
Every Wednesday 7:30 till 8:30, and every Sunday morning 9 till 10.
Okay. So what's Marcella Spaz been like in terms of leading you down this path?
Yeah, amazing. He's really supportive. He's such like a bit of an icon in the gym really. You know, everyone looks up to him. He G's everybody up. I wouldn't have fought last year if he didn't sort of put the faith in me. You know, he always encouraged me. You know, you're definitely ready. And I was so nervous, and I just wasn't with him there. He puts the training in with you, and yeah, it's great.
Yeah. And then what sort of initiatives are going on down Nottingham School of Boxing? Because we're always seeing stuff about Switch Up. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, so they do a lot with schools. They go into schools and do a lot of sessions, and they work with sort of vulnerable people that haven't had the best upbringings, might not have had role models growing up. You know, they really get them involved in the mentoring side of things, and the gym is such a good place for discipline. You know, you let off all your steam, all your energy, and it's really a community down here. No one gets treated any different to anybody else, whether you've been coming to the gym for 5 years or for 5 weeks. It is a proper family feel down here, and that's what I love about it so much.
Brilliant.
So whilst you were watching that, we were talking then, Marcellus. You were saying that, well, she was on the pads then. She can punch. She's got some power and punches.
You wouldn't want to take one of those.
Mate, I've seen her in the ring against blokes, and she's hit them and their legs have gone, you know what I mean? She can bang. She can definitely bang.
Like, don't ask me for any sparring with her, put it that way. But yeah, I mean, it seems to me, because women's boxing, you know, stereotypically maybe 10-15 years ago, it just wasn't really about, and now it's starting to grow, and we're seeing that. Those numbers look great, didn't they? Those classes look really busy. Yeah.
I mean, Katie Taylor's helped, Terry Harper. I think years ago we only really had Jane Couch on the scene.
Nicola Adams.
Winning the Olympic gold.
Yeah.
I think,
but we didn't know about Nicola, did we? We didn't know about her until we saw her in the Olympics.
Absolutely, yeah. But you know, the thing is boxing's been it's been a slow burner with the women, because they've always been, you know, coming through in the football, in the hockey, and other sports, and like boxing's had this stigma to it that it's a masculine man's sport and whatever.
Well, that was Muhammad Ali's thoughts, wasn't it? He, you know, his daughter, when she started boxing, he was so against it. They fell out. He was not a happy bunny that she was boxing, was he?
But it's refreshing that they are coming through, and you can see by the numbers in this gym. You know, they are coming through by the numbers, mate, and. It's just refreshing to see, and it's great to see, because boxing gives you so much back.
Moving on, you recently went down and spoke to Joe Hughes. So tell us a little bit about your relationship with Joe.
So I was just saying to Marcellus earlier that Joe is sort of like just kind of come out of nowhere, but he signed up for a white collar boxing match for charity. You know, he comes from a background where he was in a bit of trouble at school and stuff. He wasn't a bad kid, just sort of like, you know, a bit of a stereotype of boxing, I guess, just a lot of energy. And I went down there to help a class out. We were just having a little bit of a spar, like a little move around. And like, I heard him bad-mouthing me to another person. He said, I thought he was a pro, and gave me a bit of stick. So I thought, I'll show him now. And I sort of gave him a few licks, and he thanked me for it at the end, and he was really polite, and we started training together. And you know, he did a bit of the semi-pro stuff, the unlicensed boxing, and I said, look, you know, we'll just build you up, get some experience, and you'll be a great pro. So I started training him. Scott, my manager, started to manage him, and then he went and trained with DCT with Killer down at DCT in Highston Green, and he's just gone from strength to strength. You know, he's super featherweight, but he's taller than I am, and I box at lightweight. That's
amazing. I mean, you've had him going Malta and all over the
he went to Malta. He's been to Barnsley Metrodome, so he's went in at the deep end, and he's thrived from it, and his boxing brain is unreal. You know, he will be one to watch. Within the next couple of years, I can see him fighting for an English title. He's 3-0 at the minute.
He's a popular lad as well, isn't he?
Yeah. I don't know how though, because you know,
when you first met him, did you know that he had something?
Do you know what? When I first sparred with him properly, so after he'd had a couple of fights and we had a good spar, and I went at him a bit. I hit him with some big shots, and he just kept going and going and going. And I thought, he's got sheer determination. And personally, I think he'll go far further in the sport than I have and will. So, I think. Well, I interviewed him, so.
Shall we have a look?
Yeah. Let's have a look at the interview by myself and see what he's got to say. Hi, I'm Nathan Kirk, reporting for Squared Circle Boxing. I'm joined here with Joe Hughes, 3-0. Joe, I think we spoke to you just before your last fight. Since then, you've had the fight, had the win, luckily. How did it go?
It went well. Well, I won, got the win. That's all that matters. But it wasn't my best performance due to illness. So I like to get out. Well, my fight in December got cancelled before, so I would have liked to get active at the start of the year. So.
And I can't remember your fighter's name, but he came with a winning record. I think he had something like 9 wins and a loss or something. and you being ill. So what was it like preparing for a fight against someone with more experience, more wins? And then secondly, how do you think that the illness impacted your performance?
Well, we didn't know I was fighting him till like the week of the fight anyway, so you just prepare accordingly for anyone. You get yourself in the best physical shape at this level. That's what you've got to do. You're not really planning for anyone specific, so it was just train hard and get as fit and sharp as I could in that time I had.
And then, so you got fit, you got in shape, you got your weight right. How did the actual illness impact you? So what illness was it, and how did it actually impact you negatively? Because you said it wasn't your best performance.
So originally, about 2 weeks before the fight, I got a cold. And I thought, oh yeah, I'll check it off, go to the gym, get a bit of a sweat on, and eventually it will go. It lasted about a week. Started dying down. I thought, yeah, I'll be good for the week of the fight. The week of the fight, I ended up getting the flu, and I literally didn't get out of my bed until probably the Friday morning before the fight. And I'd done no training the week before the fight, just in bed and being sick and like everything. It wasn't good a week before a fight, but I'd trained all that time before, and I wanted to get in there, and I'd sold a lot of tickets, so I just got on with it. Told Scott instead of doing 6 or 4 if possible, and got it done.
Yeah, we were there ringside at the fight, and again, we wasn't sure whether it was a 6-rounder or a 4-rounder until the day. Again, it just seemed like you got a bit too close to him and let it get into a wall. But the guy came to win. He came to knock your head clean off by the looks of it, and he landed some big shots. And I think you took them very well, and you got through it. What was it like having so I think it was a chest infection or something, wasn't it? What was it like having sort of like after the first round, knowing you've got 3 rounds to go, with that amount of pain in your chest, with a fighter who's coming at you hard?
It was just one of them. You had to dig deep and really show like your grit and that you've got a heart, even this early on in your career. I know it's not a 12-round or a 10-round fight, but like you say, I was ill. I had a chest infection. After the first round, I knew. Well, even in the changing rooms when I was hitting the pads, I was like, my chest was tightening up already. And then after the first round, I just thought, I can't really box this guy. He's beating me to every punch. He's a little bit faster, a little bit sharper. I've just got to go to war with him, really. That was the only thing I knew, the only way I could get through it.
So the reason we're here today is to chat to you about your next fight on the Boxing Connected show in Nottingham. So tell us about the show. Where is it? What's happening?
It's at Harvey Haddon Sports Village in Bilborough. Same place as my last fight on March the 7th.
So I think you fought there in your last fight. Have you fought anywhere else yet?
No, all my pro fights have been at Harvey Haddon, so it's like my home show, innit?
So no pressure on the win then?
No pressure.
No pressure
as well, so that don't add any more pressure either.
Do you have to, because you don't work there, can you get them to cut the lighting if you're getting beat a bit, or how does it work?
Maybe I just have to slip Andrew a quick.
So, have you got an opponent yet? What weight are you going to be fighting at, and how do you think it's going to go? Is it a 6-rounder this time?
Yeah, so we're stepping up to 6 rounds due to not being ill this time.
Yet.
Yeah, I'm fighting a lad called Joe Beeden. As it stands, normally can end up changing, but as it stands, Joe Beeden, 6 rounds, and yeah.
You were training at DCT previously, and I know that things have changed work-wise. So, what's happening there?
So I spoke with Killer, and I couldn't train there anymore due to, like as you said, work commitments and financial issues, money, whatever. So I've spoke to my manager Scott, and he's decided to start taking me on training with him, and yeah, it's going well.
So who else is actually fighting on the show?
You've got a lot of lads. You've got Jack Hutsby, Jordan Ringham, Kyle Hughes, no relation.
How many times have you been asked? Is he your brother? Is he your cousin? How many times do you reckon?
I've been asked a good few times. I just say, look at our hair.
Yeah, he's a bit of a... I think he loves Canelo Alvarez, doesn't he? Do you think he's dyed his hair just to get close to it?
Maybe.
So I wanted to do a bit of a get to know Joe. We've had you on the show before a while ago when you was interviewed by DKO's Dan Kelly, currently the videographer behind the camera today. So get to know Joe. Let me look at my little list. Are you ready? Ready? You got 5. Well, I'll give you 10 seconds for each one. You ready? Who's your favourite fighter or fighters?
Favourite fighter of all time will have to be Floyd. Currently, I'd say Billy Joe.
Okay, yeah. Floyd is one of them, isn't he? He's Marmite. You either love him or you hate him. So controversial, but yeah, I agree. Let's have a look at the next one. Toughest opponent to date. I know you fought unlicensed, not amateur. So toughest opponent so far, and where was it?
Well, the toughest was that lad that I last fought. He was tough as they come. He wouldn't back off every punch that hit him. He kept walking forward. So yeah, it would definitely be that Jordan Rodriguez.
Right, 10 seconds. Next question. Favourite film?
I have to be Law-Abiding Citizen.
Law-Abiding Citizen. Favourite TV show currently?
At the minute I'm watching The Walking Dead because I've got to catch up back on it, but favourite would be Prison Break.
I hate Prison Break, but anyway. Best advice you've received today. So what was that advice, and how has it helped you in your career so far?
Just typical ones really, just train hard, stay grounded, and have the right team and the right people around you.
Right. Stay with us and we'll go back to the studio. Right, lads, just got back from that interview with Joe. I got changed on the way.
That's quick.
Yeah. So Joe there, joking aside, he's a lovely lad. As you can tell, quite quiet, but he speaks with his hands. That's what he said afterwards. I do my talking with my hands, he says.
Fair enough. It seems like a nice kid. Is he ready for this fight, 6-rounder?
Yeah, he was supposed to fight a 6-rounder against the last opponent, but he got ill. So this will be his first 6-round fight, and I think for me, this will sort of like get him ready for the rounds of. Once you've done a 6-rounder, you then start to be eligible for area titles. Joe will beat the previous area title holder. I think it's vacant at the moment anyway, so I think this 6-rounder, should he win it, which I think he will, I think he will then be able to challenge someone for the vacant area title, and then if he gets that, that'll rocket him straight up the rankings, and then he'll be knocking on the door for English title shot.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a bit of a fast track. It's the key to the door, isn't it?
Absolutely, it's great. So do you see him capable of winning the English title?
Yeah, he's tenacious. He trains hard. His missus is she's a professional tennis player, so she drives him as well. And I've sparred with the guy, and I've hit him with some big shots, and I've hurt myself. I fractured my own hand on his head. So yeah, he's a tough cookie.
What would you say his best attribute is?
Tenacity, I think. Just he works a fighter out, and like he changes his style. He's got more than one gear, and he's just tenacious. He'll grit his teeth and he'll get through anything.
Yeah, so Harvey Adam, hopefully he'll be throwing some aces.
Yeah, that's it. So
what you did there.
we've got another interview. I think, Carl, when you went up to see Ellis Machin.
Yeah.
Ellis, the heavyweight boxer from, I think it's from Huffweight. He used to box for Huffweight, amateur, and then he moved on to train with Richard Weldon. I've ran with Ellis and I've sparred with Ellis, and he's come on leaps and bounds over the past few years. He looks a bit older than he is. He's only young, isn't he?
Yeah. And as he mentions in the video, he's been about as well. He's got a lot more experience than you actually think he does.
Yeah. So we'll watch this now, and then we'll talk about him afterwards.
Yeah.
Hello, it's Carwyn Herbert here from Squared Circle Boxing. I'm here with Ellis Machin. Did I get that right, Ellis?
Yeah, it's Ellis Machin.
Yeah, and Richard Weldon, who's his trainer. Ellis is a heavyweight from Huffweight, and we're just going to talk to him a little bit today about how his career's gone. So 4-0-1, so 1 draw on your record. How's your career gone today, Ellis?
Yeah, it's been alright. It's a lot different to amateurs. It's taking some getting used to. So yeah, it's going alright. No complaints up to yet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
In a tough division with the heavyweights, in terms of, it's fair to say you've had more experience sparring than you have in your fights. What kind of people have you been drafted into spar?
Yeah, my sparring has been a lot harder than my actual fights, to be fair. I've been in with A lot of people like Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, Dave Allen, Dylan White, Joe Joyce, and Nathan Gorman. Near enough everybody to be fair.
That's an illustrious list of names. And how have you fared with them? Without breaking sparring etiquette, of course.
Yeah, I've done well. I've held my own, and I've always been invited back, which is always a positive. So, yeah, it's going good. Yeah.
Yeah, and how did they come about? Did they approach you? Did they contact Richard in terms of getting the sparring in?
Yeah, we were in contact with Richard, and then he obviously arranged it and whatnot, and he sorted it all out. Can't thank him enough. Best sparring in the country, innit, really? Yeah,
of course. I mean, mixing it with that kind of guys, you're not going to get fights any harder than that.
No.
So, looking forward to the next year. What do you want to achieve?
To be honest, I just want to take it fight by fight, not look too much into the future. And my next fight's March the 7th in Nottingham. So get that out of the way and then start having a look.
It's a bit of a step up as well into your next one.
Yeah, we've speaking about opponents and whatnot, him and Carl.
Without mentioning names, but who's beat your opponent? He's beat the Polish guy. He's beat Skłowski Ante,
Tom Little.
He's beat Tom Little as well. Don't want to mention it because it's not confirmed yet, but it is going to be a bit of a step up. I think he's had 1-8, lost 3 Ante. So he's another kid with a winning record. But I mean, 3 out of his 5 have had winning records anyway. So and he's a cut above the journeyman. But we've got to build him up. We've got to do his apprenticeship. But there's a lot more to come from Ellis, and he's only doing it part time because he's still working. When he stops working and we do this full time, which is on the cards, then you're going to see what Ellis can really do.
Yeah, so it's fair to say your next fight's a test. You mentioned March 7th. How can they get tickets?
Yeah, you can contact me via Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Yeah, just get at me for your tickets.
Okay, told you I'd say this. So rather than saying that you'll fight anyone and who your management, who have you seen that you like the look of it? You think, yeah, I fancy a bit of that. Wouldn't mind getting in the ring with them.
Yeah, to be honest, I sat back and watched Ultimate Box Heavyweight, and any man in that competition, I'd fancy my chances, to be fair. So
Ellis should have won that if they'd have gone in.
Yeah, I remember his name being touted for it.
He should have gone in, but we was told that Ellis's story wasn't elaborate enough, his life story, which I think was just absolutely ridiculous. He would have won that.
Yeah,
and I know that he would have won that.
It's good that you've got that belief in him, and Ellis has got that belief in himself. So you mentioned just now that you work. Just talk us through a typical day in the life of Ellis.
Yeah, I get up around 6. I go and get my cardio done in the morning, and then I go to work all day. Bit of an odd man at work, just doing bits and bobs and stuff. And then I'm in gym, Empire Boxing Club. Most nights with Rich, working on things, putting stuff together.
Brilliant. And then we're just gonna have a few of a quick fire. So. You seem like a quite calm guy, Ellis.
Quick fire, making me nervous.
What annoys you? What gets under your skin?
Eating loudly. My old man's terrible for it. He chomps like, honestly, swirls it round his mouth a lot.
Yeah. And party trick / hidden talent.
Oh God. I don't think we can
I've got some videos. Caterpillar, mate, that's a good one, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm quite good at worm. Yeah.
You're too good at worm, yeah.
Might have to get a shot of that afterwards.
Yeah, I can bank worm out whenever you fancy it.
Yeah.
Good move, that.
And if you had a superpower and you could choose anyone, which would it be and why?
Jesus, that's a good question. What about you? What do you think? It's a tough one, isn't it? I'm going to say something for you, but I don't think it's appropriate.
I think it'd help you if you had one of them punches, like one special move, like
oh yeah, like that.
What were it on that?
A dork it.
One of them special moves.
Special move. Like Mortal Kombat stuff.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And just finally, gangster rapper name.
Oh God.
With an accent, please.
With an accent. You've stumped me, mate. You absolutely stumped me. I'm going to try a Scots accent, but I didn't do it.
Oh, Richard, label him.
Mate,
he labelled the machine. He come up with a machine. Yeah. It's good at it.
How did you find sparring Tyson?
Very hard work, to be honest. He's very elusive, very hard to hit.
Special though, Tyson Fury. He is special.
He's a cut above, isn't he?
He's so big, isn't he? You don't realise how big he is until you stand next to him, but he's good. But I will say, Ellis did catch him in the second and third round.
Yeah.
Caught him a peach of a right hand. It was a beauty.
Did he get up this time?
His face up.
Did he get up, or did he? Was he done for? What did you learn from him?
To be honest, after sparring, he was showing me like how to be elusive, moving my head, and he did take me up ring and show me some bits. You know what I mean?
Lovely fella.
Yeah.
Really welcoming as well, weren't they? They all were. His dad was up there, and
yeah, they're all at Athens Gym.
Any training methods such as the 7 a day that he's banging out at the minute?
No. Well, I'm doubling them numbers.
That's easy, that.
I'm doubling them numbers already. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I can fit that in my training schedule.
And how do you think the fight's going to go?
To be honest, it's an interesting one. To avoid that big punch for 12 rounds, a big ask. So, but
it all depends how fit Fury is going to be.
Yeah, but it's changing trainer as well. I think that'll have a big effect on it. 'Cause you have to gel with a trainer, don't you? You don't just come overnight. And
if he's fit, he'll do it.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, thank you, lads. So you can catch Ellis March 7th, Britannia Hotel in Nottingham. Get tickets from him, as he said.
Listen, all I got from Ellis's interview there was he'll whip out the worm at any point. I mean, you've got to be careful who you say that to. But yeah, I mean, Ellis, he's a good lad. I used to train with him down at Huffway when he was an amateur with Scott and stuff, and you know, he's a lovely lad.
You sparred with him. He's a big lad.
Listen, you know, nothing comes past these bad boys. Now, yeah, we had a little mooch about and stuff, but it was just working on certain things, and he was. You know, he didn't come in like throwing. He was a bit lighter as well at the time, but yeah, you know, he's got heart of gold, and he's a proper little fighter as well. He's a good scrapper. But yeah, I think your little quick fire at the end just put him off guard, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he opened up a bit more at the end, and he's not a natural in front of the camera, so he wanted Richard in with him, and that'll come. He's a heavyweight.
He's got a fight coming up, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's fighting on March 7th. He's promoted by Carl Greaves, fighting at the Britannia Hotel in Nottingham. So I think you can get tickets from Ellis or any of the other fighters on there.
You need to get down there.
Yeah, I mean, you know, with Ellis as well, he's been sparring some big names. For those people that don't know Ellis, he was saying there that he was supposed to be on The Ultimate Boxer, and then somebody else got a bigger story than him, you know, like a better background, a bit like being on the X Factor, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you know, Ellis, he is hungry, and he's so hungry that when he started out as a pro, he just messaged Dillian Whyte, Chisora, just like literally just hunted him down a bit and messaged him and said, I'm available for sparring, I'll do as many rounds as you want, I want to learn, and that's full credit to him. He's gone and done it. He's sparred
Fury, hasn't he?
He sparred Dillian Whyte, he sparred Chisora, and he sparred Fury more than once. He's done it. I think he went to, was it Nathan Gorman he sparred as well?
Yeah, Nathan Gorman.
Up at Ricky Hatton's gym.
I mean, we were at his last fight as well when he fought Dorian Darch, who's been in with some big names, and Dorian injured himself and didn't want to continue in the fight, and he was ever so upset afterwards.
I mean, we're going to move on now to the big one, Fury Wilder 2.
Yeah.
But he didn't sound massively confident for Fury, did he? I didn't. Watching that, I didn't get the vibe that he thought Fury was going to win.
Straight away, he went, you know what, new trainer, right? And that can that be a factor?
I don't know. I mean, for me, like, Fury's a world level fighter. He's been about. He's had different trainers, and it comes down to the person, doesn't it? The individual. For me, Wilder is a very intelligent man in terms of, like, people give him stick, but you think he's got himself into the status and world title level, and he's a multi-millionaire with a big deal with the BT. Is it ESPN, BT and ESPN or something? But the thing is, like, he can't be that daft, and he's gone to different trainers and he's picked up the things that he likes, and he'll take it. And as we'll see from Junior Witter, we spoke to him, he takes from his previous trainer and he adds with the next trainer.
I'm hoping that does happen, Carvin, because when you've got a particular trainer and you want something a certain way, right? I know he's with a trainer now that's very strong-minded as well. So if you're going to a different trainer who's strong-minded and wants you to do things his way, I mean, in the first fight, I thought Fury did fantastically well until he got knocked out. And a lot of us thought that he won the first fight. So changing a trainer is maybe changing some tactics. And, I don't know whether that's going to pay off or not. And like Junior did say, and Ellis, it could be a stumbling block.
I mean, we look back at, like, it works for some people because certain trainers will add to what you've already got, whereas others are too different to what you've had before. Such as when Nazim Hamid went to Stewart, it just didn't work because the Ingle's such a unique style to train that elsewhere. I mean, ironically, I think Fury's gone to Stewart's nephew. So I know their way of training is they keep him at length, and like you train the Klitschko's, Lennox Lewis, Tommy Hearns, keep him at length, and then hit him with that big right once they can't take him.
I mean, for me though, Fury's not. For me, I love Fury's style. He's such a clever boxer. Like, he will smother you, he'll outwear you. He made Klitschko, and Klitschko was like unbeaten in 10 years. He made him look so bad. He won the fight before he even got in the ring. The mind games that man plays with. Who turns up to an interview dressed as Batman?
It's crazy. He's an absolutely amazing guy, but he's good with playing mind games with people and trying to get under the skin. When you can get under a fighter's skin, you're more or less, you're halfway there. But going back to the physiques, right? You look at Tyson's physique now, he looks like he's put on a lot of muscle mass. Now, is that going to be able to give him that fluidness that he had in his first fight with moving around and boxing and moving? Or is it going to be like a Joshua Ruiz one kind of thing where he might be a lot stiffer and he's not going to be able to have the endurance and the stamina to go to 12 rounds? What do you reckon?
I think that's what makes a fight so intriguing, is all the different trainer, different physique, the cut. We just have so many questions.
The cut. I think the other thing is as well is that we said earlier that Fury fought only having had a couple of fights against relatively lower level names, and then he's gone and taken on the undefeated man, the man with all the knockouts. He's gone to his own back garden and gone, let's have it. And in my opinion, he won that first fight regardless of the knockdowns. He won that fight. He outpointed Wilder. And the thing is, Wilder banged him with some big shots, and the man kept coming back.
He got up from the dead.
And how he got up it was honestly, it was like he's resurrected, man.
It's going to be one of those things that I don't think the boxing world will ever forget. The day that man came back to life. But
you got some people saying he was down for more than 10 seconds.
Doesn't matter. For me, he got up and he finished the round stronger than Wilder did.
There's some like VAR on the boxing. But let's go to predictions then, because for you, how's this fight going to go?
I think if I was to put my neck on the line, I want Fury to win it on points. Something tells me Fury on points, but then if I use my head and I was to put money down on it, I'd go Wilder KO.
That's a very on the fence answer. That he may as well be a politician. So that's like Boris Johnson.
It's very similar to myself actually, because I love Wilder I love Fury as a person and what he stands for and what he's done for in the ring, but also outside the ring with the mental health stuff and stuff. And I really, raising awareness and helping other people to be able to speak about, a serious issue like that. So, I would really, my heart really wants him to win, but something tells me that Wilder was going to knock him out.
Yeah, so we've got on the fence a little bit. We've got Wilder KO from you. For me, I think if Fury was in this shape that he's in now, without the cut happening, if he was in this shape the first time, he'd have already had the win, and there wouldn't be a second fight. I don't think. I think he'd then go for Joshua and all the belts. For me, I think that cut it's a less than a year, and it wasn't a cut, it was off his head.
Yeah.
You know, it was Frankenstein level, and Wilder can bang, and at some point it's going to catch his eye, and I think, for me, I think it's going to get stopped medically because of his cut opening. I don't think he's going to get knocked out. I think he'll want to carry on, but I think it's going to open up and it's going to be a major factor in the fight. I think, unbelievably, Wilder's going to win.
I think it's three Wilders then, isn't it? Wilder, and let's hope we're all wrong.
Yeah.
I will be happy to be wrong.
I think all of us would be happy to be wrong.
Let's go to the interview. Well, I say interview. We had a chat with Junior Witter. He gave some insight on his prediction with Tyson Fury. And then secondly, I think we won't show it, but Dave Allen, he's predicting a Wilder knockout, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a Wilder knockout. But we'll go to Junior Witter. We'll see what he has to say.
The Wilder Fury fight. What's your predictions for that fight?
An exciting night, a very exciting night. Tyson's got all the skill. Yeah, he's got his range is better than anybody else, any other fighter out there at the minute heavyweight. He's the best for me, the best heavyweight right at the minute. Wilder's got an unbelievable power. I would describe him as a fighter who is there at the bottom of talent, the talent pool in that respect, and the way he boxes. Then all of a sudden he has blimps where he just hits 100%. There he is, boom, boom, 2 perfect punches, bam, knocks people out. And the ability to do that is unthinkable. No one's been able to do that ever, the way he does it. And he comes through, and I expect a similar fight to what we saw last time. I think Tyson's going to be stronger. I think Tyson's going to hit hard. Remember, Tyson hurt him a few times. Even in the 12th round, after he got up after being dropped and he was out, he got up and he had Wilder backing up and under pressure right at the end of the fight. Now he's going to have that from earlier. So a lot of the boxes for me are ticked in the favour of Tyson. One negative, change of trainer, but because I know Tyson, he's had change of trainers before, he normally improves because of that. He's already got what he's got out of the trainings he's already had. He moves on it and he adds to that. He isn't someone who's going to, I don't think it's going to take it away from him, so I think he's going to be even better. He's bigger, he's stronger, he's fuller at the weight, and I just expect him to actually do what he did, but be hitting even harder. Right. And therefore, there is the chance of the knockout for Tyson, but realistically I see Tyson absolutely just stomping it and winning it on points.
Well, people seem to forget that, like the first fight, he'd only just come back.
He'd had a couple of fight outings, and you can't really call them fights because they were outings, they were basically public workouts. He went out and he put a show on. He'd not performed, yeah, and he went out in that form and he had to perform, and he did. In my eyes, he won the fight. Didn't get it, that's life. But he's learned from that. I think he's going to be better, I think he's going to be bigger, I think he's going to be stronger. I think it's a great fight. I can't wait for it. I really want him to do it, and I actually believe he's going to do it.
Yeah. Very good.
Interesting that Witter's got Fury on points, which is quite different to what all of us had. So,
well, I think our hearts want that, but yeah.
We hope Witter's right.
Yeah, hopefully he's got some secret inside knowledge that we don't know about. So we're going to be coming back every month with more chat. Hopefully we'll come back and talk about how brilliant Fury was and how well he did that fight, and you know, the next big fight, and hopefully an AJ matchup that would be good. We're going to be talking about the MTK Global.
Yeah.
That contract's unreal, the shows they've been doing recently. So we're going to come back every month on the monthly roundup to bring you more info and more interviews. Thank you so much, Marcellus, for coming down and joining us today. It's an amazing thing you're doing down here at Nottingham School of Boxing. Honestly, like, changing people's lives. And then again, Carwyn, for going down there and interviewing and being with us today. You know, I think I'm really excited going forward to see where we can go with this, and hopefully everyone will be behind us. Like, share and subscribe. Square Circle Boxing on Instagram, Facebook and YouTube, and you even get free streaming service for when we can do the live stream at the shows. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
It's all about the squared circle. Let's do it.